So this is how it can be worn as a lanyard, and then we can demonstrate how a teacher might model this to a student. So for example, I can be like, okay, do we need to take a break? And a student might be able to reply, I need some help. And then we go, all right, let's do that. So this is how a teacher might wear it, or alternatively how a kid might wear it. This is how it might be used in conversation. So we can say, I need something different. And then a teacher can acknowledge that. They can also talk to me, so two-way conversation. And then there's that neutral reset as well. And you can see the mechanism working under here. If I go like that, holding its position, and then back to neutral, holding its second stable position, resetting. From another angle, back to neutral, do it again, reset. So this is how a teacher might need to reassemble it, or disassemble it to rearrange buttons. So you can take the strap off, take the case off. You can see as well that this is how the magnets are housed in the case for now. They would be permanently enclosed, and also how they connect with each other. So the magnets work quite well as a method for putting multiple units together. And if we get this, we can see the plastic screws that can be undone with a little spoon. So if we just undo all of them, just loosen it. And these are just PLA, so the threaded inserts aren't actually threaded, so they're more like press fits at the moment. But then you can take the cover off, and access all the buttons. So you could rearrange these for certain kids, you could replace them with different buttons, but that's the mechanism for changing buttons over. So this is how it would be assembled. So you simply put each of the little compliant mechanisms in like this. They pop in, they've got a little standoff so they go all to the right height. It's pretty error proof. I'll just do a couple to sort of demonstrate my point. So that's on the inner structure like that. And then we pop in the reset switch, and that can slide through in these ribs and these slots. So you can see that's got a pretty limited range of movement, but that's where we need it to be for it to toggle onto these little knobs on the compliant mechanisms. These ones have lost their stability, so you just have to bear with me a bit. It's a work in progress for grad X. So then we can just plop in that inner structure, and like, because it's providing a little bit of pre-strain to the compliant mechanisms, it does mean that these ribs actually, or these bosses, sorry, are providing like a really important part of the rigidity. So the housing actually applies some of the rigidity that we need to make these guys work. So I can just use this to sort of demonstrate how the reset would work. So if we activate one of these, and like, again, it doesn't really stay there, but we can see that pushing this reset button toggles it back to the center. And then when these are working and they are like springy enough, simply pushing another button pushes out the reset back to its, like the reset switch back to its like unactivated position. So holding it there, we can show reset, puts that back to the center. So that's how the inner structure assembles. And then obviously we can just drop all of our buttons in. And again, like, I won't show you the full thing, but our buttons have the ribbing here. So that comes, it sits in, it toggles against that. Put them all in whatever arrangement is best for whichever kid you're working with. And then we can pop on the cover, and then finally screw up all of these little screws using a little spoon. So that's the child safe cover aspect of it. It makes it really accessible because you don't require tools to do it, but also really secure. The other thing probably worth mentioning is we've just got these little features here. And what they do is they connect to the case to like hold the case edges in place. So if we put this in the case, and you do just have to like force the little keyring through, but that's the advantage of using a flexible case like this, and put the little button through, and then all of those little features on the edge, if you just pop the case over them, they should pretty much hold it in place. So obviously it's still a work in progress, it's not completely perfect, but it functions really well as a looks-like prototype, and honestly it's still even at a minimal viable product level, because you can still use it to communicate and reset like that. And then if this is being used in a classroom, you just attach a lanyard to it and you're pretty much good to go. Ta-da!